My name's Hugh Benjamin, and I just want to talk a little bit about the psychology of the actual timeshare sale. And I had actually heard that one of the original developers of timeshares, they went over to Europe and they saw the concept and they said, wow, what a great concept, we can make a lot of money. And they brought the concept back to the United States, and instead of actually charging people money on the front side to purchase the timeshare, they just wanted people to sign a contract for the maintenance fees that went on forever. Well, sales didn't really go so well because a lot of people were really focused on the maintenance fees. They were focused on all this money they were going to have to spend over a long period of time. So they contacted somebody that specialized in marketing in New York, and that person in New York told them, this is what you do. You charge $25,000 or $35,000 on the front side of the timeshare so that people are distracted and they focus on the $25,000 or $35,000. That way they'll never ever pay attention to the $600 or $700 maintenance fee. And then what you do is you discount it in price, give them such a great deal that they're compelled to buy it. And then what you do is you take all the money that they actually purchase it with and you put it back into marketing to drive more people down to the sales room. You give out free gifts, you give free hotels, you give people money, and the other 9 or 10 people that come down to the presentation, that way all the marketing and all the gifts are paid for from that one person that actually buys the timeshare. So a lot of people, when they come to us, they're so anchored in the fact that they spent $15,000 or $20,000 that they never see that over a period of 40 years they're going to spend $70,000 or $80,000 in maintenance fees. When they add up all the fees, all the increases, all the assessments, all the trading fees, all the resort fees, you know, there's so many different fees that you can add up. But they say the average person over a 40-year period will spend somewhere around $70,000 in actual maintenance fees. So they're so locked into that $15,000 that they spent, they're thinking they're going to get money back. You know, Warren Buffett has a book called the Tao of Buffett, and he talks about digging yourself a hole. He says if you get into a really big hole financially, you don't keep digging, you get out of the hole. But a lot of people, when they call us, they're so far in the hole, they think they're going to get money back, they just keep putting more money back into the timeshare. And I actually went onto a website, I was doing a search on the internet, and I came up with this article from CNN, and it talked about the philosophy and the confessions of a timeshare salesperson. And it talked about what we call a puke price. And a puke price is where they go and they want to charge you, you know, you go into the timeshare presentation, you're really excited, they take you around, they give you this whole lifestyle sell. How great would it be if you were to actually own this, and you know, we're deeded in real estate and we're a real estate agent, and they make it appear as if you're actually buying a property that you can actually sell. And what happens is they usually start really high. For example, I was on my honeymoon in Hawaii and I was looking at a property and I was talking to the lady, and the price started at $64,000. Well, I liked the property, but I also felt like bad because I was like, well, wait a second, I can't even afford $64,000. So in a way, they kind of made me feel a little inferior that I couldn't afford it. But then what they did was they started discounting it, so I felt like compelled, like, wow, I'm getting a $64,000 property for, you know, $20,000. You know, we're saving this much money. So it's almost like imaginary figures that they actually throw out there to raise people's emotions. And then what happens is when the people are down on their emotions, they kind of give them this great price. And a lot of people just feel vulnerable, so they extend their credit card and do all sorts of things because they feel like they're getting this really great deal. And how funny is it that we meet all these people on the road, and you know, we meet thousands of people every single month. I would say right now we're meeting with over 3,000 people a month, and everyone thinks their timeshare is worth money. Well, why is it that they list with all these companies and they spend thousands of dollars in listing fees and they don't even get one single call? Well, it's because they create this environment in the sales room that's so fun and alive and festive, and then as soon as they leave the sales room, it's kind of like nobody even wants to hear about a timeshare. If they was so good, why would they have to entice people and bribe them with free gifts and give them money to come down to the sales presentation? There would be people just driving up and coming in on their own. So the whole industry is kind of a little jaded, in my opinion, because a lot of the things that you don't hear, or I guess there's a lot of things that they tell you that aren't really true. I was actually reading a deed the other day for one of the resorts, and in that deed it said anything that was told to you during the oral, during your sales presentation is not a correct representation of what's in the agreement. And it's actually in writing on the actual agreement. So even though you hear all these things at the sales presentation, they put it in writing that it's not it's not a correct representation of all the facts. And most people are so excited in the first 10 days, they never have a chance to go back and cancel their property because they're so excited about, you know, what they got or what they owned. Because everybody nowadays, they just want to own something. People want to own homes. If they can't own a house, they want to own a timeshare. And people feel like this sense of ego, like, wow, I own something. But what they really own is they own a contract that goes on forever. And when people realize it, when they come to us, sometimes they're far enough down that road where it's caused them a lot of pain, and sometimes they can't really foresee what's coming over the next 6 or 7 years. In my opinion, it's like you're giving the resort a blank check, and they can send any kind of bill in the mail over the next couple of years. And that's a bad contract to be in, especially if you're looking at your finances and you're a really sharp person. You want to limit your liabilities and raise your assets, not have more liabilities than assets. And a lot of people come to a realization that a timeshare is an asset. You know, they were told it was an asset, but they come to a realization that it's actually a liability.